ערב טוב מבורך רבותיי, ערב טוב. בעזרת השם זכות הצדיק רבי פינטו, זכות כל הצדיקים, זכות הצדיק רבי נתן מברסלב, שברוך השם הוא השתן the last 3 days of his הילולה. הקדוש ברוך הוא בעזרת השם הוא blessed the entire קהילה, the entire קהל, וברכה והצלחה, נסייעתא דשמיא גדולה, מה קדם וכתב זכאתם, ובעזרת השם זכות כל הצדיקים יגנו בעדיכם, and we all come בעזרת השם to a place of true redemption, true גאולה, and all aspects of life. אמן. בעזרת השם. אז הנה רבותיי, ברוך השם, right now in this period of the year, we are at a big transformation from one point to the next. What are we talking about? We are at the transformation when we are closing up and finishing the book of Bereshit and beginning the book of Shemot. Now, a lot of the time when we read the ending of Bereshit, we start Shemot, we look at it as essentially a continuation of text that occurred in the past, and not necessarily something that must apply for a person at his time, where he is, when he is alive. Arizal and many Mikubalim give a long teaching about the differences of Bereshit and Shemot and how they apply to us. Where most of the Mikubalim, including the Zohar HaKadosh, they teach that Sefer Bereshit is called and considered the book of the Avot. What does the Avot mean in translation? The book of the fathers. Why the fathers? Because it is a timeline of what our forefathers did, what they accomplished, what they were able to overcome, what they did, in order to give some sort of like a book, some sort of a blueprint of how the kids can act, can walk in this world, can lead themselves in this world. The book of Bereshit, from beginning to end, Arizal says, it is the book of how a person can reach to the highest level of success by looking at our Avot. That's why Arizal gives a long teaching by mentioning that all the very, very prominent figures that are mentioned in Bereshit are considered to be Avot. Which Avot are what? Forefathers. Forefathers in the sense that they are like leaders of how we should act. And this is including Yosef HaTzadik, where we see Yosef HaTzadik's presence within the Torah is at a much higher level than any one of the other brothers. So it's something that we have to hold on to, and we're going to get into it in a moment. Arizal says, starting the book of Shemot, it's a completely different concept. Where the book of Bereshit was our fathers acting for us to look and watch and learn, Shemot is where we, Bnei Israel, take our hands, put them in the dirt, and get to work. And that is why Arizal call this period of time between the book of Shemot and the Parasha of Mishpatim as Yemei HaShovavim. What is Yemei HaShovavim? It's the days that are between all these parashot, these 6 parashot of Shemot, Vayera, Bo, etc. until Mishpatim. And Arizal and all the Mekubalim teach us that this period of time is where we, Bnei Israel, go to work. So we can understand this in 2 ways. We can understand this in the way that Bnei Israel at Parashat Shemot actually go to slavery and they start the work of the slavery in Egypt. Or we can understand this how all the Chazal understood it and learned from it, that it's an actual concept of us awakening and going to work. Where this period of time is not a time where we look at our forefathers and we say, that's good what they did, that's what we should do. It's a time when we have to get busy. So, throughout Bezrat Hashem, the next month and a half, we're going to speak about in length this concept of Yemei HaShovavim and what Chazal gave us as tips and hints of what we should do. And just in 2 words, Bezrat Hashem, just as like an introduction, we can say that it is the time of Tikkun Midat Hayesod, which if we were to translate it, it's the time of reparation of the foundation, which Midat HaYesod is the foundation. What is the foundation? The foundation is many things, such as the Brit Milah, Shmirat HaBrit, Shmirat HaLashon, the mouth, which is Brit HaLashon, and many other things that we're going to, Bezrat Hashem, speak in length throughout the next month and a half. But we have to understand something. Chazal are teaching us essentially that this period of time is a time where we need to go into poal, into action. Whenever we want to go into action, in any mitzvah, in any chag, we always talk a lot about what are we achieving by doing this action. All our mitzvot don't just have face value of an act and zero. Our mitzvot, our chagim, have meaning behind them. And that's why in our classes we always try to take every mitzvah that comes with the time, every period of time, and actually understand it. Because if we're going to understand it, we're going to be able to truly perform in our best way and bring the potential of this time to a fruition more than any other type of teaching that we can have. Understanding of what we are already supposed to do is the most beneficial for us. So when approaching a period of time, like this time which we call Yemei HaShovavim, time of action, it's very, very curious and very important for us to truly understand what is the action we're supposed to be doing. So yes, we're going to be touching a few points of a few different mitzvot and a few different hanagot, like ways of leading ourselves. But in reality, what's the goal? Where are we supposed to reach? What are we supposed to get to? What's the destination of this entire period of the work of the kids? We just mentioned that the forefathers were the paving of the path, and now it's our time to work, to go. To do what? When we build a building, the first thing they do, they don't just say, let's build the foundation, and then we'll build the building, we'll see how many stories we can build. No. First, you need the finished product to be in sight. Once you have the finished product in sight, then you work on the foundation under. So how can we start to take all these mitzvot and all these hanagot and different customs, fasting, giving tzedakah, all these different things that we're going to learn, if we don't even understand what's the destination, where is this destination we're supposed to reach? And that is what, Be'ezrat Hashem, I would like to get into this class, to come to a place of understanding what is our job in this period of time. So, in order to understand the job of the kids, which is Bnei Israel, which they started working, hard work, Be'ezrat Hashem, this upcoming week. Like we mentioned, there was a blueprint that was given. The blueprint that was given by who? By the fathers, by the Avot, by the last few months that we've been reading the Parashot of our forefathers. So the question is, what was the goal that our forefathers were given to? What was the tikkun, the reparation, that they took upon themselves and that they started in order to give us a clue of what we're supposed to achieve? So the Zohar HaKadosh says that our Avot, our forefathers, tackled a mission, tackled a goal, tackled a reparation which was humongous. What reparation was it? Zohar HaKadosh says, Tikkun ha'adam mi ha'adama. And that's the actual words that it uses, which if we were to translate that, it would be the reparation of man from the ground. So the question is, what is this concept of repairing man from the ground? So in order to understand this, we have to understand what man is from the first place. We know when HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the world, He created many, many creations. As we know today, there's many types of fish, of birds, of animals, etc., etc. And all of them, like all creations that exist, need to have some sort of entity. So after all the creations were created, and Adam was created as well, the Zohar HaKadosh says, and the Midrash brings it in some places, that Hashem called Adam. And He told Adam, He said, Adam, you're my partner. So because you are my partner, I created all these creations, call all of them, which we know He had a garment that was able to communicate with animals, you can call it, that was given to past people that we study throughout the Torah. Call all the animals and name them. So the Midrash and the Zohar said that Adam called all the animals and he said, the bird, you are Tzipor. Sus, the horse, you are Sus. And like that, animal after animal he named. After Adam finished all the animals, Hashem looked at him and said, okay, but now that everyone has a name, who are you? What is your name? So the Zohar HaKadosh says that Hashem said, I will name you. Don't name yourself. And this is where Adam was given the name from Hashem of Adam. What's Adam? Adam, like it says, Ki mi ha'adama bata. Why was Hashem give the name of Adam to Adam? Because Adam came from the ground. And because he came from the ground, your name will be Adama, which is essentially like in many forefathers or figures throughout the Torah, we name them from either where they come from, like Rabbi Nachman Mibreslev, we call him the Rebbe Mibreslev, they name you where you came from or what they were able to achieve in their life. So Adam was named Adam because he was created from dirt as a creation itself. But you know, by the time when we hear this Zohar, we can't help but come to a question. We know that when HaKadosh Baruch Hu created all the other creations, he created them from what? No, from what? From what? No.
The water. The ground.
From the ground. All the other creations, they came from dirt, from mud, from sand, whatever you want to call it. And that's something that they all share in common. What too came from the ground? Adam, like we just mentioned, he's named after Adam. The question that we always had is, out of all the animals, that some of them actually live in the ground, some of them live very attached to the ground. It says that at the time of Adam, there was these animals that they had like an umbilical cord that was attached them, they were attached to the earth itself. They called them Adnei Sadeh. There are many animals that are very close to the ground. And then there is man that is completely different. Man is intellectual, man has chokhmah, man talk to each other, man get interested by philosophy and knowledge and technology. And out of all creations, the one creation that is the most developed and the furthest from the ground, you name after the ground? Why didn't any other creation take this name of Adam? It makes more sense that other animals or other creations would take this name Adam versus actually us, Bnei Adam, Adam Arishon. It's the exact opposite. There's so many different animals that we can try to come to a very clear agreeing that would be a more proper name to name somebody after the ground. So why was it that HaKadosh Baruch Hu chose the name Adam, meaning from the ground, or ground you are, to us, and not any other creation? So in order to understand this, we have to understand what is ground. And understanding what is ground, meaning dirt, chol, sand, will give us a big understanding of what we are and who we are and what we are made of and what we are supposed to do, because that's who we are, that's what we come from. We now put that dirt is a very cheap, abundant material. It's literally everywhere you go. It's not something that seems to have a lot of character. It sits there like a rock. It's not something that will fight with you. You kick it, it stays where you kicked it. It doesn't have any sort of like we call it like muchin. Muchin meaning, muchin we use the word in the Zohar Kadosh for like something that has like something within it. It seems to be something very, very simple. But ground holds something that no other creation holds. And that is what? The ability to incubate and to pull potential from a state of just being potential to a state of action. And that's something that no other creation has. Where ground has the ability to take potential from a state of could be to a state of is. How? What are we actually speaking about? So in Abotai, we can look at something that's very valuable. Something that at the time they held with great importance and they actually understood its value, which is what? A seed. A seed, a person could bring sustenance for his entire family for the entire life from one simple seed. A seed has within it the potential to become what? A big tree. And this tree could feed hundreds of men. And this tree can grow other trees. And this tree can essentially build an entire world and an entire ecosystem from one little seed. In one little seed lies the potential of an entire world. But that one little seed, being just a seed, a vacuum of potential, nothing can come out of it without what? Without the simple, abundant, valueless what? Dirt. Where even the dirt helps the seed become the potential where it's supposed to be. Where the seed on its own ability and its own tools cannot grow to its full ability. It doesn't have it within it. So it has a lot of yecholet, of ability to become, but without the abundant, valueless dirt, chol, it can't be anything. From here we learn that ground in its essence, even though it is not compared in value to the seed, it takes the seed and incubates it and makes it reach to its potential. And from here, we can even see this concept, and we can come to an understanding, like with clay. What is clay? Clay is valueless, it's dirt essentially. It's mud, it's the same substance of where man was created from. Nachon? But clay, even though it's worth nothing, and it's valueless, if taken, if played with properly, great value can be created. You can create a cup, you can create a plate, you can create a vase, you can create a table, you can create a chair. Where even though at its own it does not have a great face value, but its ability to bring potential to fruition is limitless. That is dirt. Dirt is the ability to incubate potential and to bring it to the world, which is something that is extremely, extremely unique. Maybe we can say that Adam too is like what? Like the dirt. Why is Adam dirt? Why is Adam compared to a ground to like dirt? Because Adam, or dirt, carries within it what? A seed. And the job of the dirt is to become what? To take that seed and to protect it and to nurture it and to allow it to reach to its full potential. That is the job of dirt. Not to be something special on its own, but to help something else flourish and grow. Adam is that aretz. For what? So maybe we can say, for the most valuable seed in the world. We are all small pots of dirt for the most expensive, rare seed that exists in the entire world. What is that? The neshama. And from here we have this concept of the purpose that we hold within this world. A lot of the time, Rabotai, when we think about ourselves, we can very, very easily fall into this trap of thinking that we are the importance within our world. In reality, we are what? A tool, like the ground, to do what? To help the neshama develop. The neshama is like the seed in the sense that it can't bring mitzvot to fruition. It can't grow on its own. It can't flourish on its own. It can't greaten HaKadosh Baruch Hu's world on its own. It needs the dirt. It needs the ground. And with the ground, the seed can become a world of its own. Maybe we can say that the concept that we are called Adam, after the ground, because our ikar purpose, our main purpose in this world, is to act like the ground for the seed that is in each and every one of us. And to allow that seed, which is a neshama, to flourish and to grow and to become something big. Something that it always had the ability within it to become, but needs our help. Our job in this world is to help the seed grow, to help our neshama grow. Well, that's what we are. We are the tool. We are the valueless, abundant dirt that exists everywhere around the world, that allows the most precious potentials reach to their ability. But without us, without this abundant potential we are, the seed doesn't reach anywhere. And this is where we say that there's a big question that Rabbi Tzadok Cohen brings regarding the neshama. We know that the neshama is something very unique, and we speak about it all the time. The neshama is an actual creation, in the sense that it wasn't something that's created for us. So when you look at your heart, you don't see your heart as its own creation. It's something that exists within you. The neshama has nothing to do with that. The neshama is not a creation that HaKadosh Baruch Hu created with you as a part of you. We have to understand that the neshamot are actually entities of their own. It's something we've explained hundreds of times in our classes. Where the neshama, it was essentially what? The first creation that HaKadosh Baruch Hu brought to fruition. In what manner? We know about there are 4 worlds. And it's not important to remember the names, so nobody needs to feel like they're being pulled out of the class if they don't remember or they don't recognize these names. So there are 4 worlds. First one being Atzilut, the world where only Hashem exists within it. Nothing else, no angels or nothing, just Hashem. And right after the world of Hashem is the world of what? Bria. Bria in translation comes to what? To creation. What was that creation that was put? Nishamot. Where the Zohar HaKadosh even compares Nishamot to being like the princes. The kids of the king and queen. The parents of the Neshama being who? Being who? Hashem and the Shekhinah. The Shekhinah being the feminine aspect of HaKadosh Baruch Hu's presence, like the mother. Shekhinah is usually more feminine. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu himself being the more masculine aspect. And when the Shekhinah and HaKadosh Baruch Hu work together, what is born is a Neshama. So the question is, that Rabbi Tzadok HaKohen brings, why send these kids down to this dirty world? Why would you take a Neshama, which is such a precious thing, such a unique creation, the first creation, such a seed of potential, and put him into a world of dirt? Put him into a body which is dirt? Put him into a world where he can get more dirty than grown sometimes in some periods throughout history? What is the point that HaKadosh Baruch Hu even brought these Neshamot here down from the first place? Especially when you ask, where does the Neshamot come from? And then the Tehillim and Tzadik Bet answer this, Shetulim bebet Hashem, that they're essentially planted in the garden of Hashem. So why send it down here from the first place? And here the Zohar HaKadosh answers, and this really puts this whole concept together. That the Neshamot themselves, the reason that they were brought down to this world and put within Adam was for one simple fact. That up there, it cannot grow. Up there, each Neshama is at its own level, and it's stuck at its own level, and doesn't have the ability to develop further than what it is. So the Neshama, being at this stuck position, HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted to give it a chance to what? To grow, to become something bigger. It's like how every father, his wish is to see his son what? Flourish in something bigger than what he was just created, a small little piece of meat. No father wants his son to stay a small little piece of meat. He wants him to grow, to develop, to become a man, to maybe even bigger than him. Nachon? HaKadosh Baruch Hu's will was to allow the Neshamot to have space to grow, to flourish. But like what we said, as important and as rare and as valuable that a seed could be, in order for it to grow, what does it need? What does it need? Dirt. And that dirt allows the seed to develop and become something very big. And from here we learn this concept that Adam is the Adama, the ground in which Hashem plants the Neshama. And from that ground, that Neshama is able to flourish, and that Neshama is able to grow. And from here we see this concept of how man's halichot, man's paths in this world, are very strangely a path of a tree. And if we actually ask why, it doesn't make a lot of sense, meaning we don't understand. We see that the first sin was done with what? A tree, it's a dat. And then the good aspect of the world at the time was what? It's a chaim, tree of life. So we see like these two different directions. There's one direction which is a tree of life and a tree of essentially trouble, you can call it. Why trees? It's the most awkward thing you can think of. A tree? Say a stone, make it sound actually, a stone, some sort of place. Why a tree? Why was man tested with these two aspects of a good tree and a bad tree? So maybe we can say that this is actually a simple reality. It's for the simple reality because we are the ground that incubate what? The seed. And we dictate how our tree will grow. We dictate how our neshama will develop. And if we want our tree our seed, which is our neshama, to develop in a good side, in a good direction, we have to walk in what path? And we have to follow the instructions of how good trees are grown. And how trees develop properly. And how trees reach to a place of flourishing. And if we want to take our seed and chas v'shalom lead it in a bad way, you can grow a crooked tree, chas v'shalom. Or a tree that is deformed, or a tree that doesn't have a shape. It's possible. But the concept of using these two, you can even call it metaphors of tree of life and tree of knowledge, or in simple essence to give us this concept in our mind that the way we lead ourselves is the direction we grow our seed, in the direction we take our seed with us. And here you can add so many things. You can say, Ki Adam Etz HaSadeh, the man is the tree of the field. In so many different places we see this concept of what? Of an order for us to flourish, where we have to understand that what? That we are a tree. You want to study Torah, Derech Eretz Kadma Torah. You have to do work your ground before you plant your Torah. It makes sense now. You work your ground, you make your ground proper for proper trees to grow. Then the Torah will grow within it, your neshama will flourish. So we see this concept of all the places throughout the Torah where we are compared to tree, to dirt that grows, or whatever it is. There's actually a sense behind it. There's actually a reason behind it. Because we are the dirt where the neshama, where the seed grows within. Us, on ourselves, we're what? We're nothing. Mi'afar bata v'la'afar tashuv. From the dirt you come, and for the dirt you go. You come, you go. What gives us value is this valuable seed that's within us. If we treat it properly, and act properly with it, we can build a world. Or chas v'shalom, we can destroy and end up with nothing. And from here we could understand the sin of Adam. What was the sin of Adam? Chazal say that the sin of Adam, where he gave himself, imlich et atzmo. He gave himself what? Importance. So we always said, well, why is that such a bad sin? And I don't even see the concept of giving himself importance within the tree of knowledge sin. Meaning, where do you learn that Adam was giving himself importance by eating from the tree? I don't see any clear indication that he gave himself importance by eating from the tree. So we said maybe we can say that what Adam sinned with was he was failed to understand and failed to see that he is the dirt that incubates what? The seed. And not that the dirt is a valuable thing on its own. Adam was convinced by the snake that what? That I need to take care of my dirt. I need to give my dirt the importance that it needs. I need to feed my dirt more than I feed my seed. And the fact that he gave importance to the dirt, a man that gives importance to the tafel ends up losing what? The ikar. A man that gives importance to what? Tafel.
Thing that you
Tafel. Tafel.
subordinate.
Ma? Subordinate?
Yeah.
That's the first time we heard that word. So if a person gives importance to the subordinate, to the not important, you end up what? You end up losing the important. It's like how a person, you're giving me an example. It's like a man that holds a box with a diamond within. He looks at the box and he says, wow, the box with the diamond, amazing. Takes the diamond, throws it out, and says, I'm going to keep this box. He's going to end up with value in his hands? Zero. Because what made the box valuable was what? The fact that it had something very valuable within it. Treat the box like the diamond and you won't have anything in your hand. Maybe we can give another analogy. It's like the man that receives a big box of clay. He says, wow, I'm not going to touch it. I'm going to leave it the way it is. It's so beautiful. It's so potential. It's such an incredible thing. I'm not going to touch it. What is he going to end up with? A humongous block of rock. It's going to end up with nothing. The body, if given importance, like the neshama, you come to a place of what? Of losing everything. And that was the sin of Adam. The snake convinced him, feed yourself now. Feed your body now. Eat from the tree now. Not because there's some sort of better result from it, but give your body right now, which is the dirt, the importance like the seed. And in the end, what happened? Adam ended up losing Olam Hazeh and losing what? Olam Haba. When you give importance to the peel, you're very, very likely to lose the fruit. And that was the sin of Adam. And we can even see that the punishments came very properly at their place. HaKadosh Baruch Hu punished the snake with what?
I thought he was going to eat. I thought.
What's the punishment? No, Rabbi Leoel, what's the punishment, Tzaddik?
He doesn't get to dive into Hashem.
No, what's the punishment? The actual wording that Hashem told the snake.
Crawl on the dirt.
Okay, but what's the actual punishment of
eat dirt his whole life.
The first one was he will lay on the dirt his whole life, and the second one was what? That no matter what he eats, it tastes like what?
Dirt.
Like dirt. That's a very, very creative punishment. So if Hashem did it, it had reason behind it. So what was the reason? So based off this, we can understand. Hashem told the snake, you gave importance to the dirt. You put the dirt on the pedestal. Take it. Keep it. Eat it for the rest of your life. You wanted the dirt? Have it. The punishment of the snake was equivalent to what the snake wanted to achieve. We can say the same thing with Adam. HaKadosh Baruch Hu told Adam, he said, before you were like a prince, you were like a king. You sat down while the grounds, the fields worked for you. You gave importance to the ground instead of giving importance to the seed. Go work the ground for the rest of your life. Go be busy with the ground. Go spend the rest of your life doing what? Go spend the rest of your life touching and playing with the dirt of the life, the dirt of the world forever. Where we see that their punishments were equivalent to what they wanted to achieve. They gave importance to the dirt. They wanted the dirt to be there. They received the dirt. And from here we see why HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave the first mitzvah he chose. As we know, the first mitzvah that Adam was chosen was what? No. Pro urvo. What is pro urvo, Rabbi David?
Have a boy and a girl.
Bring children. Why bring children?
To continue on the generation.
So that's the beautiful pshat of the concept. Bring children to continue on. But Hashem couldn't just create more people. He created Adam and Chava and many other bad ones, but he couldn't create more. Why was that the mitzvah of us? So he said maybe it's to give us a very clear indication of what our purpose here, and to give us a very, very clear redirectioning of where we are supposed to walk throughout our life. We know any parent can tell you that the moment he has a kid, something changes within his world. What changes? He no longer lives for himself, but lives for what? Lives for the kid. Lives to have the kid grow. Lives to see the kid develop. Lives for the kid to live a life where it's able to flourish. The whole root of the essence of bringing kids to the world is what? It's the understanding that you were born not for yourself, but to help something else grow. And once you're able to understand that you are born and your mission is to help something else grow, then you'll succeed in this world. But if you're going to have your head stuck within yourself and understand that you are what have to develop and you are what's important in this world, then you'll completely end up losing it all. The goal of Pro Urvu was giving us the understanding that our job in this world is to be the ground, to allow the other, the seed, to what? To grow and to become something big. And here we see where our avot, where our forefathers got up and started to work. Here we see where the reparation, the tikkun of our forefathers started to take place. There's a beautiful pasuk in Parasha Lech Lecha. It is extremely strange the way Rashi explained it. It says in the pasuk that Avraham traveled the land, he traveled the Aretz, Vayavor ba'aretz. Rashi says two words that make no sense. Rashi says that when Avraham started to travel in the world, meaning when he started with tshuva process, it takes the words traveling on the ground, and what does he translate them to? Nichnas letocha. Two words. Nichnas letocha. So, what? Nichnas letocha? What does that mean? The Torah says he traveled on the land. He went from land to land. Why? He went betocha. What? He dug tunnels? He was creating a tunnel system? So what is this concept? Oh, he went down to the world, into the ground. Maybe we can say that Avraham, being the beginning of our forefathers, understood the tikkun of Adam. And they understood that themselves, they're what? They're just a pile of dirt that needs to be an incubation for something much greater. And once something much greater grows from that, that's when a person's yirud, a person's purpose, comes to fruition. Where Abraham saw the real essence of what? Of the dirt. And he went down to that essence, and that's what he started to build. Where the whole tikkun of the Avot, our forefathers, was what? Tikkun Adam ba'adama. Repairing Adam's sin that he did with what? With the Adama, with the ground. What was the sin that Adam did? That he took the ground and he made it valuable. And he took the ground and put it on the top of the pedestal. Our forefathers worked their entire life to repair that tikkun. And we see this happening with Avraham, this is happening with Yitzchak, this is happening with Yaakov. And more specifically, we see this happening with one of the most important figures within the Torah, Yosef HaTzadik. Where Yosef HaTzadik, in its essence, it's Midat what? Midat HaYesod, where he essentially walks us out of the book of the forefathers and into the book of what? The kids. So what was so special in Yosef that essentially cemented his place as a forefather by repairing the same tikkun that they repaired? So maybe we can say it all started when Yosef HaTzadik, of course, was brought down to Egypt, which seemed to be a big punishment, but when he was tested with the wife of Potiphar. The Midrash says, as we know, the Zohar brings actually, that the beginning of the turning point of Yosef was the test. That the moment the test occurred, that's when Yosef was already, his projectile turned, changed. And his direction that he was going to was already the direction of a king. So, what happened in that test? So the Midrash says something incredibly funny. It says that when he was in front of Eshet Potiphar, and he was about to sin with her, an angel came to him. And this is the angel that we mentioned in many places, was created by his father and gave it to him. And the angel showed him an image of who? Of who? Of Yaakov. Some Mefarshim say that it was actually the image of who? Of who? Of Adam. Which you're also correct, because we'll explain in a moment. The image of Adam. So why is there different opinions of Adam or Yaakov? So in simplicity, we know that there are four. We chose the most deep example to give, but we'll still give it. There are four faces on the Merkava. So there are four faces on the chariot. One being, it changed, but one being the Aryeh, one being the Kruv, and one being the Nesher. So Aryeh is lion, Kruv is like a sword of a bull, something like that. And Nesher is what? An eagle or a hawk? One of the two, they're bird, it's a bird. And the fourth one is what? It's Adam. Now what is Adam? Adam Arishon, in essence. But Zohar Kadosh says that when Yaakov went up, and he was dreaming the dream of the Sulam, of the angels and the ladder, etc., he woke up and he said, I don't understand. He noticed that his face was engraved on what? On the Merkava. But didn't we say it's Adam's face? So from here the Gemara in Tanit says, maybe Tanit, that Dukno de Adam, it's Yaakov. What does that mean? That the face of Adam is who? It's the face of Yaakov. You want to know how Yaakov looks? How Adam looks? Look at Yaakov. Yaakov had the exact same face and exact same resemblance. As we know. Who also looked identical to Yaakov? Yosef. So that's why all answers are correct. Nobody answered anything wrong. Well, it was all the same face. They all had the exact same shape. When the angel showed Yosef the image of Adam, the Midrash says that Yosef looked at Eshet Potiphar and said, I have to tell you a story. What's the story? He says, one time there was a man named Adam, and he was essentially telling her the story of Adam Arishon, that he was tested with the snake, and the snake made him fall, and He explained him the whole story. And that's essentially how he stopped from sinning with Eshet Potiphar. Which is a question that we were always laughing about. The wife of Potiphar cares about the story of Adam. Why did she care? Adam sinned. He made his body into the importance. Eshet Potiphar was a Resha. Why did she care about that? So we say maybe we can say that Yosef actually understood a big concept within the world, where he essentially cemented himself as one of our forefathers, being in the book of the forefathers, maybe more present than any other forefather, being the fact that he understood the mission of Adam. And with that understood what? The falling of Adam. Where he said Adam fell by taking the ground, which is the incubator for potential, and using that potential for something negative. Yosef told the wife of Potiphar, I can't sin with you. I need to fix Adam's sin that he committed. If I would be sinning with you, I would be essentially adding to that glorification of the dirt and not feeding my what? My seed, my neshama. But maybe we can even go further than that. Yosef told Eshet Potiphar, he was telling her the whole story of Adam, in a way of telling her, thank you. Thank you for what you just did to me. This test that you just gave to me. Because all this dirt that you are, and the dirt that the test represents, is dirt that will allow my seed to do what? To grow more if I don't give importance to the dirt. Meaning if he was to take that dirt which was Potiphar and say, let me sin, let me give importance to this dirt and give it value, then it would be like Adam giving the dirt value. But Yosef said, if I take this whole nisayon, this whole test, which is something which is valueless, something dirty, and I use it properly, meaning I don't fall to it, and I don't give the dirt importance, my neshama will grow higher from this test that you're doing me. Yosef realized that the dirt that exists in this world is what? It's all dirt and ground that could allow his tree, his neshama, to grow bigger and bigger and bigger and go deeper and get stronger and have more control and bring more trees and more trees. That the more dirt that it has, the more what? The more ability his neshama is able to grow. And of course, that's if we use the dirt properly. If we're able to take the dirt that exists in this world and understand its purpose, which it's not it being important, but it being a tool to help us grow. And that's something we see even when Yosef reveals himself. It says that when Yosef revealed himself to the brothers, how did he reveal himself? He was wearing some sort of hat. So it was like a sort of crown, but it seems to be that the Midrashim, they say that the Egyptians didn't wear a normal crown. They would wear like a strange hat. And this hat covered the whole head, but it symbolized the crown. When Yosef HaTzadik was sitting in front of the brothers, his head was completely covered from this crown. When he wanted to reveal himself and tell them that he is his brother, it said that what did he do? He took off the crown, and the light that emanated from his face already revealed to them who he is, that he was Yosef HaTzadik, seeing the image in the face of Yosef fully. And that's how he revealed himself. Midrash says that when the brothers saw Yosef's light, they wanted to die. Where the neshama, parcha, the neshama said, that's it, we have to escape. Where some Mefarshim even said that they died and came back to life. They said that they died twice and they came back to life, like what happened with Bnei Israel and Al Sinai, where they couldn't handle the shame of seeing Yosef. So the Midrash asks, what was the shame that they had when they saw Yosef? So it said that they were panicking. So Yosef wanted to calm them down. Why were they panicking? They were panicking because they said, look at Yosef. He became emanating Kedusha like an angel. And that's in Mitzrayim. That's in the darkest place in the world. Imagine how he would shine if we didn't sell him. If he stayed by Yaakov, imagine how big he would got. So they wanted to die, not from the shame of you seeing Yosef, that was the brother they sold. They wanted to die from the shame of how much potential they stopped by them selling Yosef to Egypt. Where they said, imagine how much he would shine more if he didn't have to deal with all this tumah. Then the Midrash says, and this is even written in Pshat in the Torah itself, that Yosef tries to calm them down. What does Yosef tell them? Don't worry, my brothers. Calm down. It's me, that Yosef, the one that you sold me, not anyone else. You sold me to Egypt. So the question that we've asked is, that's how you calm brothers that are panicking that they sold you? The last thing they want to hear now is what? No, it's what? That we are the brothers that sold you to Egypt. So how did Yosef think that this would calm them down? How is this a language of calming them down by telling them, no, it's you the one who sold me to Egypt? So he said, maybe we can say that this was a form of calming them down. For what reason? Because he actually looked at them and said, brothers, you don't understand. The reason that I got to this level of light, it's because you helped me. It's because you sold me down to Egypt. Why is that? So maybe we can say Yosef hinted in what concept? The concept that Shvatim, we are all diamonds. All of you are emanating potential. But this potential, in order for it to develop, it needs what? It needs dirt. So come down to Egypt, bring our father to Egypt. Let's make this dirt into what? Let's make this dirt into the home where we could shine brighter than ever before. I reached to my place of Gdula because of what? Because of you bringing me down to this dirty place. And from here, we could understand why it says that at the time when the forefathers lived in Egypt, when Yaakov and the Shvatim lived in Egypt, it said that Egypt turned into Gan Eden. Where it turned into a land that resembled Gan Eden. Not Gan Eden from an aspect of you can say even from all aspects. And specifically, it even said that they turned into Gan Eden from the aspect of how they lived. They lived like in the way of lack of sin of Adam. Where the curse of man is what? Bizat apecha, work the fields hard. They didn't work the fields. It said that the land had so much bracha, it was just growing on its own. They had shefa for the whole world to feed. Woman, the curse of woman is what? It's what?
To have children.
To have children in what?
Pain.
In pain. When Bnei Israel were in Egypt, they were having children like what? The Midrash says, the woman would blink and she would have 8 children without even 8 kids. How 8 kids? How can you even hold 8 kids? She had 8 kids without even realizing. They turned Egypt into what? Into Gan Eden. They took Egypt, the most dirtiest place on earth, the place that all the dirt in the world was there, and they used that dirt as what? As a place of incubation for their seed. Their seed being what? Their seed being their neshama. Yehuda built Bet Midrash. Levi built Bet Midrash. They built cities. They had an incredible shefa, where the land even had prosperity from it. And there's something, Abotai, that not only Bnei Israel recognized, that they took the dirt and turned it into abundance, essentially. Something that even the Egyptians realized. It's not for no reason the Egyptians didn't want to give up Bnei Israel. It's not for no reason Paro, against all the fights and the hits and the makot and the threats and the fear, didn't want to give Am Israel, because he said, look, I'm dirt. I can't help myself. But they have a seed. So as long as I have their seed in my dirt, I will be blessed. Where the Egyptians understood the value of allowing the seed to grow. And something about that we can see, even in other places. There's always a Gemara, Masechet Avodah Zarah, in page Yudchet, if I'm not mistaken. It is extremely unique. We're not going to go into the whole story, it's a long story. We're going to go into it in short. The Gemara says that there was a war between the Romans and the Greeks. So, they fought, it says, 27 or 28 wars. Nobody won. They would send soldiers, both sides wouldn't return. And nobody would victory. So the Romans had an idea. And this is the idea that all countries do, but they're not thankful for. The Romans said, let's make an alliance. Alliance with who? Alliance with Hashem. We need some bracha because these Greeks, they don't let us win. We're sending 100,000, they're sending 100,000, they both die. So we need extra bracha. So the Romans sent a letter to the Jews, and this was actually right before Choban Bet HaMikdash. It was the Greeks, one of the two, it's the same, Nivela v'Trefa. One's a dead animal, one's a dead dog, one's a dead cat. They both smell, same thing. So in any case, they said, let's make an alliance with the Jews. After they made the alliance, which the Gemara says that was very controversial within the Rabbanim. Some Rabbanim said there's no way if we do this alliance, we're going to end up paying for it. You never make peace with Esav. Esav is your enemy. Esav sonel Yaakov. Don't make peace to it. They ended up making this alliance. It says the Romans or the Greeks, one of the two, they sent a letter to each other. And they said, we have a question. When you have a ruby and a diamond, who serves as a platform for who? So, the other army, Greek or Roman, same thing, they answered, of course, the diamond being more valuable will be served by the ruby. Where the ruby will be used as the tashtit, the base, the servant of what? Of the diamond. They sent another letter. We have another question. What if there's a diamond and an extremely valuable diamond? Who serves whom? So they answered, the obvious answer, the lesser value will serve the one with more value. And then they send the last letter. They said, if so, if there is the most expensive diamond in the world and a Sefer Torah, who serves who? And it says that the Romans or the Greeks answered, one of the two, to each other. Obviously, the Sefer Torah, being the higher value, would be served by the most expensive diamond. So there the Gemara says that that group that did alliance with Am Yisrael, they said, if so, we are the most expensive diamond, we are serving the Sefer Torah, and you being the lesser diamond will serve us. And it said that the other side didn't even fight the war but surrendered. The war was lost for them just from the fact that they heard that the alliance is done with the Sefer Torah. So we always ask, what's this concept? Serving one another, Sefer Torah being served by the diamond serves Sefer Torah. So maybe we can understand, maybe we can learn that even those Goyim understood that as much as they are dirt, if they take Am Yisrael and they bring Am Yisrael within them, from the dirt that they emanate, Am Yisrael being the seed, what will flourish from it? Life, shefa. Even the Goyim understood that. And certainly every single country understood that. Wherever the Jews go, somehow the land flourishes. Wherever the Jews go, no matter where it was, always that land reached the highest of levels. The essence of the Jew is being the seed that takes all the dirt that surrounds it and doesn't value the dirt for the dirt being what it is, but uses the dirt as what? As an incubator for his own potential, which is his neshama. And that's why we can say, as Yosef HaTzadik, it's mentioned that he was not buried in the dirt. There's this concept of from the ground you come, and from the ground you return. Aharon? Being that you are an incubator for potential, and you die not being something special, but you die still being what? An incubator for potential. But you yourself, you don't have much value. It's your neshama that's within you. It's the neshama that sits within every single Jew. That's what's valuable. Not our skin and flesh. That's nothing. There's also a mice of skin and flesh. That doesn't make anything special. It's the diamond within us. And that's why we say that we come being an incubator potential, we leave going incubator potential. Yosef, in the end of this week's Parasha, which is the end of the book of the forefathers, it says, and Yosef passed away, and he was put in a coffin and thrown into the Nilus. And all the Mefarshim say that the Torah wanted to make sure that you understand that Yosef was not buried. So, why did it change for us? Yosef buried, put in a bucket, put in a Nilus, put in a jar. What changed for us? So we could say maybe that Yosef didn't live life as being born an incubator of potential, which is like dirt to serve the seed, and died to serve the seed, he actually brought all the potential to fruition. Where he turned his dirt into what? All the dirt that exists in the world, which is the most dirtiest place being Mitzrayim, he turned all that dirt into what? The servant of the seed. And because he turned everything, not even a drop of potential was left that didn't come to fruition, he had no more purpose of returning to dirt. His dirt disappeared. His dirt all turned into potential. And that's why Yosef HaTzadik is what? He's not like everyone else. He's not from the dirt you come, from the dirt you return. He doesn't return to dirt. He understood that he has the ability to bring his own personal neshama's potential to fruition. And that was his mission. And he succeeded more than any other man because himself, he was chosen to be what? The forefather that represents what? Yesod. Which Yesod being what? Foundation. On foundation, you plant a seed. He is that foundation. He understood that foundation. And Yosef reached the perfection of it. And that is why, Rabotai, this period of time, we call it a time of what? Preparation of the foundation. It's when we look at our forefathers and all the tests that they took, and all the mitzvot that they did, and the mission that they were accomplishing, and we play our part in it. We play our part in it in what? In this period of time of the book of Shovavim. And from here we learn that the mission of man in this world is to follow the footsteps of like Yosef. Where the footsteps of the tzaddik are what? Are understanding that all the dirt that comes to you in your life, meaning every situation, good, bad, medium, upsetting, less upsetting, annoying, not annoying, they are all dirt that if treated properly could help our own seed grow. Our mission in this world is to take Mitzrayim, the most dirtiest place in the world, and to turn it into what? Turn it into Gan Eden. Or to take every single drop of dirt that exists and to make it as a tool to help our seed, to help our tree flourish and grow. And that's what Rabotai Bezrat Hashem we're going to be touching on the next few months, next month and a half really. This concept of the Yesod, of the Brit being one, the tongue, and the ability of us creating with our tongue hopefully good things and only good things. And the Brit, another organ of creation, of creating children, of creating something else to flourish. And that is what both the things that we need to start to work on, Bezrat Hashem, starting Sunday. Sunday, Yom HaShovavim begins, and it's time to start working. And the time that we will work and what we will be able to achieve now, it will help us and walk with us throughout the entire year. And that's what Bezrat Hashem Abotai we're going to speak, and that's what Bezrat Hashem we're starting. So Bezrat Hashem, in the minute of Tzaddik Rabbi Pinto, in the minute of all Tzaddikim, may we all achieve and succeed with this mission of turning all the dirt, turning Mitzrayim into what? Into Gan Eden. Turning all the dirt of our life, every situation of our life, back to Tshuva. That every situation in our life will be a tool, an ezer, a helper to bring our neshama to its place of potential, its growth, in all aspects. But Hashem, we succeed in this mission, and may we achieve all the success in the world in it, and we come to a place, Bat Hashem, of true Geulah, on a personal level and on a level of all Klal, Am Yisrael, Amen. No, Rabotai, is there any questions? Can I be David?
So, you said when Yosef saw and told his brothers, it's because you sold me and you brought me into all this dirt that I became who I am.
Mm-hmm.
So we should all come here.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't it kind of like counterintuitive? Shouldn't you want to go away from the tumah and the test? It says, I forgot what Gemara, but a tzaddik who goes through a city that he knows he needs to wash his eyes is a rasha because he went through there on purpose.
So we think there's a big difference of you testing yourself, meaning you trying to show yourself, look what I can do, I am strong, I am this. You're not strong because you're fighting a tzara that is fire. That's a big baya. But on the other hand, there's a concept of actually turning our world b'kedusha. That's our job, that's our purpose. Now, throughout that, there will be nisanot that we choose, nisanot that we don't choose. Nisanot that we choose are called mitzvot, where we are taking upon ourselves to conquer more land, to turn more land, to take more dirt and make it into potential growth, or there are certain things like our forefathers that were thrown on nisyonot. In life, we will be introduced with both of them. We have to understand that these nisyonot are actually here to help us. So that's the concept. The concept was, this is a place of dirt. From the place of dirt, there will be potential of growth. If you come to a place where there is no light, all light, from where are you going to grow? It's like the seed. So the neshama, in order to absorb and to grow, it needs that dirt. It's like Arizal said, we spoke about this yesterday or 2 days ago. After 120 years, when a person goes to Gan Eden, it says that his gift is what? A barrel. They bring him a barrel. It sounds very silly. They bring him a barrel of all the food he ate throughout his entire life with brachot. And that's his gift. That's the reward in Gan Eden. So we say, what are you going to do with a barrel of Moroccan fish and bucha and arak and borekas, everything in one barrel? What are you going to do with it? Open up seudah and milah malka and start doing. What are you going to do with that food? So the concept that it's not you're going to sit down with the food. It's the fact that of the kedusha that you extracted from that tum'ah. That you're going to take with you. Because all the kedusha you extracted from your tum'ah, that was like the water that you gave to your seed to grow. When Bnei Yisrael started the slavery, it was something that they needed to do. In that slavery, what did they do? It says, Lakachta yakar mizol. What does that mean? They were sent to the dirt to extract the good from it. So our job in this world is to absorb it, to consume physical. We need to consume as much physical as we can. Of course, not consume it by giving it importance, but consume it in what manner? Using it as a tool, using it as like more dirt for the seed to have space to grow. But if we give it importance, that's something else. Or if we take upon ourselves challenges which come from a bad place of like, I will show my strength, you will fall 100%. So the concept of Yosef telling them, come to Egypt, it's bivadai. We know that all the nitzotzot kedusha were in Egypt. All the rapach nitzotzot, the 288 sparks, they were in Egypt. But they were hidden under what? All the dirt. So he told them, come here. Here there's potential. It's like you want to dig for gold. What do? You go dirt and you dig for gold. You want something valuable, that's something that's very luxurious, you dig in the dirt? You dig in the dirt to find luxury? It sounds backwards. In order to find the material, you have to go down to the bottom where there is the most wasteful garbage in the world. There you find the value. That's what he explained to him. He explained to him, sometimes you can have a bad situation in your life. Chas v'shalom, person. Bad nisayon. It could be anything, someone makes him upset, or whatever it is. He needs to understand that even within that dirt, there is potential for growth. If there wasn't that situation, he'd just be sitting and another moment would pass without having an opportunity to do something good. It's like how it's a very interesting story. Baal Alivush. So there's a Rav, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, shakol niya midvaro. More to the barrel. So there's a Rav that says that his name was Baal Alivush. Big mikubal. That he named all his books after clothing. After shirt, pants. And they're all deep books. So why you name your books after clothing? So it said that there was a story that happened that caused him to get this name. Because one time he was traveling for business because he needed to reach Parasha too. And he went into a Goya's home to sell her something, to sell her diamonds or whatever he was selling. And this Goya saw how beautiful he was, how much kedusha he had. And she wanted to sin with him. So he didn't know what to do. So he said that, what did he do? He went to the bathroom, meaning he went into the room and also took the waste and put it on his clothing. And when he walked out of the room, the woman looked at him, she said, oh. And he ran away and she didn't chase him because she didn't want to sin with him anymore. It says from that moment, because of what he did, Hashem opened up his mind in Torah, and he was able to write dozens of books of complete secrets. And he named them after clothing parts. Why clothing parts? Those clothing parts that he dirtied with his waste in order to prevent that sin. So you can see it as a test. He saw it as what? A great opportunity. He was covered in dirt, but that dirt helped him flourish. So more dirt was added to his seed. Again, but he was able to utilize the dirt properly. So that dirt actually helped him flourish into Baal Livush, to the man that his name is master of the clothing. That's what we call him. Master of the clothing. For what? Because he covered his clothing with dirt. It was a test. But that test, that's the dirt that helped him grow. And you can really take a literal plant and use that as an example. Use that as an actual analogy. You take a plant, it can only grow as much as dirt that it has in its pot. So if you take a seed, put it in a small pot, and a tree seed, any tree, a fruit, apple tree. You put it in a small pot. It's going to grow. Eventually, what's going to happen to it? You're going to stop. Why?
It doesn't have the right fleet.
It doesn't have enough dirt. So at that point, you say, okay, now he's big enough. You take him, you put him in the ground of the garden. And the ground has a lot of dirt. And a lot of dirt helps it flourish and grow, etc. Man is the same thing. It's not for no reason Tzaddikim actually go out on travels and meet people and this and that. It's not because they want to. It's not because they see value in it. It's because they see that there is purpose in it. There is purpose in going to the dirt. There is purpose in bringing more dirt on you, because the more dirt comes on you, the more potential you can flourish. So actually the concept of Yosef telling them, come here you have to be, because here I reached to where I reached to because I'm here, was in the essence of here there is endless growth. It's like here in Los Angeles. It's dirt, but it's still dirt. That's the secret. Still dirt. You have to remember that it's still dirt. So you can say, it's still dirt, I have to leave. I'll go to Yerushalayim. There it's not dirt. Okay, but in Yerushalayim, go grow. Go spread Hashem's presence. It's impossible. It's impossible. What are you going to do? Grow a beard? Everybody have beard there. Here you grow a beard. Wow, Hashem's presence is widening. So you see that within the dirt you can create more effect for your neshama by spreading other neshamot. Or this is an example. You can give so many different things. And you can do in the holiest places in the world, Yerushalayim. So growth comes with a lot of dirt. And the more dirt is thrown at you, the more you could potentially grow. Or Chas v'Shalom get buried from the dirt. If you take the dirt and you say, wow. You say, wow, you're not going to have anything anymore. Your tree is going to die. So it's a very deep thought. And it's a thought that you could chew with for a month and still find more places to apply it and more openings that you... Go free, yalla. Bezrat Hashem, we will succeed.